In men's Bible study led by Adam Franchek, he was always waiting for us to come up with the right answer. People like Claude Bowles and Doug Boyles were always suggesting esoteric topics and alternative views. Adam always closed that down. He was trying to keep us within the confines of Orthodox theology. There is a heresy to correspond with every natural psychological inclination. There's always a danger we might go off the rails. Faith means we acknowledge the danger and do it anyway. Closing down voices has more to do with fear than with faith. And the Bible study? Well, some people make a study of it, whether you have faith or not. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. This Sunday, we talked about being in the memory garden, getting Bulls tickets, not being Jewish, and what to serve at a funeral. The readings at Washington National Cathedral were from Philippians. Having an unlimited credit card line is all about never having to use it. And from John, the power of capital, who controls it? The people, God, or the state? At Washington National Cathedral, the sermon was the story of the Passion of Christ. Jan greeted everyone, saying that, reminding us that we're not missing anything outside during the procession except the 33-degree temperature and gale force winds. The Passion story is the story of Jesus liberating people who liked the darkness more. It's not a new story. The darkness pretty much works for people. It's all about how to manage the darkness and how to make money on it. It seldom occurs to us that there's anything else because we don't know any better. At St. James, the sermon was by Stephen Balke. Stephen said at St. James, we're taking a moment to enjoy the praise and happiness of the moment. The story of the Passion can wait till later because we're having fun now. That sounds kind of irreverent, but that's what Palm Sunday is, irreverent. Stephen said we know what happens next anyway, or at least we think we do. Stephen said we have lots of examples of what happens next in the Bible. The story of Moses parting the Red Sea, the story of Jonah and Nineveh, and the story of Kate Middleton being diagnosed with cancer. We know how the story is going to end. Taking a moment to focus on the praise is a counter-narrative that's worth exploring. Stephen said we see counter-narrative stories in the story of the end of the American slave trade, women's rights, and in negotiating an eventual peace in the Middle East. Stephen said the notion that we know what God is going to do next makes everything we do irreverent. God keeps himself separate from us, not to keep his options open, but to keep our options open. At St. James, they see things different. That's the best kind of counter-narrative they have going on. A number of former Fourth Pres people reported into headquarters this week, attending St. James during Holy Week programs. Most notably, the small noonday service hosted by Bishop Paula Clark. Off-putting to some, and if you don't know her backstory, it could be. Paula was called, moved to Chicago, then her husband died, and then she suffered a stroke. Of course, St. James never gives a disclaimer because they're St. James. They transcend all. In literature, there are 7 plot scenarios common to most works. Also, we can remember 5 things at a time, and 7 if 2 of the additional things are related to 2 of the original 5 things. And we have 6 psychological responses in any given situation, which include surprise, anger, fear, disgust, sadness, and happiness. Obviously, most people say they strive for the happiness. Because it's a leap year, this Sunday, Palm Sunday, was actually Palm Saturday. In the Orthodox Church, they'll be celebrating Easter weeks from now at the end of April. We all think we know what's coming next, and we have a calendar to prove it. But it's all just a placeholder for a predetermined plot that we will react to in a limited way, very little of which we'll actually remember. In the liturgical church, we have the wheel of psychological responses to correspond with the story of the Bible and the story of our humanity. We have the sadness of Lent, the surprise of Pentecost, and the happiness of Advent. They kind of have to fudge the numbers to get anger and disgust in there, but that's critical as a driver for social justice and for pledging. No one's going to pledge if they don't think they're going to hell if they don't. The greatest sin in the Bible is not being hospitable. Condemning others for not being hospitable is the easiest way to take yourself off the hook. It's always those people. Besides our basic psychological responses, we also have ingrained economic drivers, which frame our morality. I'm a good person because I do well economically and do good works. Yes, we're separated from God, and that's a blessing. Fear and faith are also separated for a similar reason. It's for the protection of our faith. We don't need to go to Bible study to figure that out. We just need to listen to the marginalized voices. It's seldom the voices lifted up at church or by the state. It's us, we the people. Christ lived and Christ lives again. God was one of us. It's the ultimate counter-narrative. No disclaimer needed. We all want the cup of pain and suffering to pass. We don't know what we're asking for. It's the difference between heaven in earth and heaven on earth. Being held in the tyranny of happiness or presiding over a small service, few bewildered souls. It's perfect freedom. If you would like to join us at Sunday Coffee Hour is every Sunday at 12 noon Central Time on Zoom. I'll include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.